What is happening across America today? Welcome to USA News, where we bring you the facts and the most talked of stories right now. Drop a like, subscribe, and let's get into the details. U.S.-Iran talks face major tension as Trump's comments shake critical peace negotiations. What was supposed to be a breakthrough moment for diplomacy suddenly became a high-stakes test of patience, trust, and international stability. Negotiators from the United States and Iran gathered in Switzerland for a second day of talks aimed at securing a permanent end to the recent conflict between the two countries. The discussions, held near the scenic shores of Lake Lucerne in Obergern, carried enormous significance for global security, energy markets, and stability across the Middle East. But just as signs of progress began to emerge, the negotiations hit an unexpected obstacle. According to Iranian state media, talks were temporarily disrupted after President Donald Trump issued a series of public statements that Iranian officials viewed as offensive and provocative. The interruption highlighted just how fragile these negotiations remain, despite growing pressure on both sides to reach a lasting agreement. The first day of talks had actually produced encouraging developments. Mediators from Qatar and Pakistan praised what they described as meaningful progress. Officials revealed that both sides agreed to establish a special communication and deconfliction mechanism aimed at reducing tensions in Lebanon and preventing further escalation involving Hezbollah and Israel. Even more importantly, negotiators reportedly discussed safeguards to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. The narrow waterway is one of the world's most critical energy corridors, carrying a significant portion of global oil shipments. Any disruption there could have major consequences for economies around the globe. However, the positive momentum was quickly overshadowed. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian publicly reaffirmed that Iran would never abandon what it considers its right to enrich uranium. Shortly afterward, President Trump responded during media appearances and social media posts, warning Iran against supporting proxy groups in Lebanon and threatening stronger action if tensions continued. Those remarks reportedly caused concern within the Iranian delegation. Iranian media claimed negotiators briefly paused discussions and met separately with Qatari mediators. For a moment, observers feared the entire process could unravel before meaningful agreements were reached. Despite the tension, U.S. officials later insisted negotiations remained active and that Iranian representatives had stayed involved in the process. The American delegation includes Vice President J.D. Vance, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner, who have been working on technical details behind the scenes. Representing Iran are Parliamentary Speaker Mohammad Bagher Khalibaf and Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Public reaction to the talks has been mixed. Supporters of diplomacy argue that any progress is welcome after years of hostility and recent military confrontation. Others remain skeptical, questioning whether the two nations can overcome deep-rooted mistrust and conflicting priorities. Across social media, many observers expressed concern that public statements from political leaders could undermine delicate negotiations happening behind closed doors. Others praised mediators from Qatar and Pakistan for keeping both sides engaged despite rising tensions. For families across the Middle East and for global markets watching closely, the stakes could not be higher. The future of regional stability, international energy supplies, and broader U.S.-Iran relations may depend on what happens during the next few days in Switzerland. As technical negotiations continue throughout the week, the world is watching to see whether diplomacy can prevail over decades of conflict and suspicion. For now, the talks remain alive, but the path toward a lasting peace remains uncertain, fragile, and filled with challenges. The question now is simple. Will these negotiations lead to a historic breakthrough, or will rising tensions once again push both sides further apart? The answer may shape the future of the Middle East for years to come.